Rip and tear, stand and fight, shoot and parry, punch, Sparta kick, smack the out of demons with a flail. This is Doom: The Dark Ages, and man do I love this game. Since the game's launch, I have completed it twice on Nightmare, once on Ultra Nightmare, and am currently on my way to 100%ing the entire game. This was the first game I had ever live streamed, and what made it even more special is that this game was released around my birthday, and I could not be more thankful to have a new Doom release as a birthday present. Editing Wes here, just wanted to let you know that I have recently started a second channel mainly focused on gameplay, game highlights, and Let's Play styled videos, and you can find my full Doom: The Dark Ages Nightmare playthrough on the channel WesPTS, linked in the description. Would greatly appreciate if you go over to that channel, subscribe, and tune in for any game I'll be playing. Also, we are very close to 2,000 subscribers here on the commentary channel, which I cannot be more thankful for. Hopefully we can reach that goal very soon and catch the other channel up with it. Thank every last one of you for your support. Now, back to the review. So the first thing I would like to talk about is the gameplay. Now at first I was a little skeptical when I learned about the removal of glory kills and seeing that the combat has a more grounded focus. But after fully playing the game, I can say that it was an absolute blast. This game really makes you feel like a completely powerful, unstoppable force, and that is exactly how I want to feel when playing as the Doomslayer. A lot of fans call this game too slow, which really is just not true. You can adjust the speed of this game, and upon mastering its mechanics, you can even juggle weapons and create very fast and satisfying gameplay. Juggling weapons in this game is obviously not as fast as Eternal, but it is still here nevertheless with the game speed set a lot higher. There were definitely some moments where I missed the verticality of Doom Eternal, but the more you play this game, the more you really develop a rhythm with this game's mechanics. The new melee system creates opportunities for really satisfying combos. You can throw your shield and hold one demon in place while you completely throw hands with the other, alternate between shield throwing, shooting, meleeing, making for a very cinematic combat experience. Also, one cool thing I found out while playing is that there are still some glory kill animations for the more threatening demons with the shield saw. If you sprint, jump, and lock on with your shield and lunge at them, the Slayer will take his shield and saw through his opponents. I mean, that is just too cool. One other thing I loved about this game were the guns, which, I mean, come on. It's a Doom game. You're gonna love the guns. Every gun feels very powerful and satisfying to use. The Super Shotgun completely mutilates the majority of demons at close range. The new Impaler gun, once upgraded, you can get a charge shot after every shield move and shoot a devastating projectile that destroys enemies and even a lot of bosses' health bars. The new Chain Shotgun is incredible for destroying demon shields and armor. You can really make just about every single weapon overpowered with the upgrades you choose for them, which is another thing I loved in this game more than 2016 and Eternal. Upgrading and leveling up. In 2016, you find Praetor suit chips and do challenges to equip runes. In Eternal, you look for tokens for suit upgrades and Sentinel crystals for upgrading health, ammo, and shield. In the Dark Ages, you find rubies and wraith stones to select upgrades for your weapons, and to upgrade your health, shield, and ammunition, you find mini boss demons and kill them by absorbing their hearts, adding upgrades to the Slayer, which not only is badass, but lore accurate. In his testament, it is said that he alone could draw strength from his fallen foes, and ever his power grew, swift and unrelenting. One thing that was heavily marketed for this game was the dragon and mech gameplay. Now, I gotta say, the dragon was very hyped to play, but only in the beginning. Don't get me wrong, it is cool to see that the Doomslayer had another loved companion, but when I was a lot later into the game, I did my absolute best to speed through the dragon segments because they definitely got a little stale. Now, as for the mechs, I really have no issue with mech gameplay. At the end of the day, you are the Slayer controlling a giant powerful mech suit, and the perfect dodging, combinations with left click and right click was very satisfying. Not exactly too difficult to fight in the mech, but it is still very satisfying to pull off no damage runs on the mech chapters. Also would like to mention how beautiful this game's visual design is. Whenever the models would actually want to render, that is. But other than visuals, you have the game's level design, which for the most part is linear, but then basically dances on the line of open world, which is cool, but I gotta say I prefer a more linear Doom level instead of the more open world style level. Now, the last thing I absolutely loved about this game was the bosses. The difference in boss battles between this game and its predecessors are night and day. Bosses are very fun to parry, think on the fly for what weapon you want to use to approach each boss, and comboing the hell out of them with the flail or dealing crazy damage to them with the Dread Mace. Overall, this game had fantastic gameplay. For me, the Doomslayer is an incredibly powerful being that of course rips and tears his enemies, and with a more grounded combat system with a healthy emphasis on melee, that is exactly what you are doing and more. Striking, lunging, ripping and tearing. The next thing this game has that is the best in the entire franchise is the story. In previous Doom games, there are cutscenes and nice story moments, but the Dark Ages absolutely blows them out of the water in this department. There are a lot more badass cinematic cutscenes in this one, and the narrative this game focuses on is overall very good. Not a complete cinematic Christopher Nolan story, but a good story nevertheless, especially in the world of Doom. And that is the best part about this game's story, is how it explores the world of Doom a lot more. In 2016, you find the testaments of the Doomslayer and hear a lot of what went down in the past years. You see King Novik and hear stories of the Slayer's time with the Night Sentinels, as well as catch flashbacks and get interactions with some of the characters in Eternal that mention events from the past, but in this game you live every second of it. Commander Thera was a very cool character to see in this game, especially near the end once she had gotten her power up. The Con Makers using the Slayer as a weapon was a treat to see, considering we knew that inevitably the Slayer will break free from their control with his powerful will. Prince Azric was a very calculated and menacing villain that had a great performance when he was on screen. Seeing how they all speak of the Slayer, acknowledging the fear he puts into demons, and conspiring on what they could possibly do to defeat him or contain him really makes you feel even more how feared the Slayer has been for literal eons now. And to insert cosmic horror into this series, having these Cthulhu-inspired enemies and taking cacodemons and giving them this eldritch monstrous design, introducing new deadly monsters into the franchise, was an absolute treat. One other thing I loved in this story, the Slayer was defeated in this one. He was contained and even died in this game. And I knew they were going to take a real Kratos-style approach with your protagonist filled with rage climbing his way out of hell, but we already knew the Doomslayer has been in and out of hell several times throughout the franchise, so what made this time so special? They turned the Slayer into a fucking zombie. We already know the Slayer is just an unstoppable, unkillable entity, but to see that even in death he is out there causing havoc for the demons was incredible. After his resurrection, the final raid into hell to take down Prince Azric and that weird squid-faced witch was an absolute blast to play. They gave everything they had while the Slayer tore through every last defense they had, and the story concludes with the Sentinels gathering around celebrating their recent victory and giving praise and thanks to the Slayer as he continues his reign by staying in hell, ripping and tearing for many eons to come. In the Slayer's testament, it was said he chose the path of perpetual torment, and we hear that eventually all of hell came up with a plan to lure the Slayer and trap him in a cursed sarcophagus, which I believe we will see in future DLC for this game. Overall, this game only expanded more on the world and lore of the Doom franchise and did it wonderfully. Now, the last thing I want to talk about real quick is the game's soundtrack. It is still very sad that we did not get Mick Gordon for this game, and we already knew the soundtrack wouldn't exactly hit the way it did in 2016 in Eternal, but at the end of the day, Finishing Move rocked out and gave us a good soundtrack. Obviously not the best of the franchise, but still good. Unholy Siege, Infernal Chasm, When the Shadows First Lengthen, and many more have already made my playlist, and I greatly enjoyed most of the songs that played throughout the game. Overall, this game was phenomenal. For me, I would say this game is the second best in the franchise, next to Eternal of course. One thing I absolutely respect from id is how they continue to take risks. They make changes to their games and try new things instead of just rinse and repeat with the exact same mechanics. Most video game companies nowadays give us the exact same mechanics and blueprint and formula, but just slap a new setting on it and maybe a couple new gameplay features and call it a brand new video game. Ubisoft. But again, this game was truly special. I was very satisfied with this game overall and cannot wait for future DLC. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and comment what you thought of this game. Again, I would like to mention one last time that we are close to 2,000 subscribers on this channel, and we have started a separate channel dedicated to gameplay instead of just commentary. I would greatly appreciate it if you go sub to the other channel and of course subscribe here. It goes a long way and I cannot thank you enough. As always, this has been WesBTB, and I will see you in the next video.